Welcome back to another episode of the LBG Reviews Retrospective series. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy. Now, I've done several of these retrospectives at this point, and for those of you who may have seen my content in the past, or maybe have seen some of these videos and wondering, what exactly are they if you haven't necessarily watched them yourself? So, it's not a retrospective about, say, like, the actual game that the video is about. No, it's about my own videos about whatever game I talked about. So like as an example, this video, it's not a retrospective about Subnautica as a whole, it's a retrospective about my video about Subnautica that I had made months ago at this point. So I'm sure you're wondering, why even do that? Why go back if the video is just several months old at this point? Well, there's multiple reasons for that. Number one, I learn by reflection. I don't learn by picking up a new skill and then just automatically doing it. I learn what works, what doesn't by doing something and then waiting, seeing how it works out. So like a good example with, I talked about the Power Wash Simulator video a few months back. With that one, I learned a lot about the various ways that I could chroma key in the editing software that I was using at the time. And honestly, I did not like how that editing software handled chroma keying. But with that out of the way, let's dive in, shall we? Welcome back to LBG Reviews. Be sure to like and subscribe. Still approximately only 24, close to 25% of you are subscribed. Let's try to get that number up higher, shall we? Today we'll be reviewing Subnautica. Subnautica is a survival, crafting, and building game made by Unknown Worlds and released back in January of 2018. The game sees a sole survivor from a spaceship crash named Riley Robinson, a unessential maintenance worker, was aboard a ship named the Aurora when the Aurora crash landed on an uncharted ocean planet called Planet 4546b. Unbeknownst to the Aurora, when they were attempting to do a gravity turn around the planet was placed under quarantine by a previously unknown race of aliens due to a very dangerous infection that both resides on the planet and that was slowly killing off this alien race's population. Early on, you hear distress signals coming in from the various other life pods that were jettisoned from the Aurora before the crash. However, even though you may hope that there's someone else out there, you always end up finding out that no, Riley is the sole survivor of this crash. After getting several distress signal responses from the various other life pods, you also receive a radio signal from a ship called the Sunbeam. The Sunbeam comes to 4546b to try to rescue you, but gets blown to smithereens by the quarantine enforcement platform built by this now extinct race of aliens. After the destruction of the Sunbeam, the game sees Riley trying to venture further and further into the depths of Subnautica's oceans to uncover the secrets about the aliens, learn more about them, what caused their demise, and also why there's a quarantine enforcement platform to begin with. Then from there, as you explore the game's oceans, you also find out that you are also infected with said disease, so you have to keep diving further while you work towards finding out how to cure yourself so you can deactivate the quarantine enforcement platform and build a rocket to get home. Subnautica has 4 game modes: Survival, Freedom, Creative, and Hardcore. Survival is a game mode where you have to manage health, oxygen, hunger, thirst, while at the same time having to gather resources so you can build the necessary equipment for you to survive, thrive, and get off of 4546b. Freedom mode is the same as survival mode. However, you don't have to manage hunger or thirst. you just have to worry about oxygen, health, and resource management. Hardcore is similar to survival mode. However, when you die, you have to start completely over. Creative mode is similar to other games' creative mode, where every single blueprint is unlocked at the very start. You have an unlimited amount of resources. You don't have to worry about health, oxygen, hunger, or thirst. Now, that does not mean that... So here's a good example of what I was just talking about. So, if you've watched any of my more recent videos, you'll notice, unlike a lot of other YouTubers, I don't do a lot of video cutting. You won't see a lot of jumping around to demonstrate different topics visually. And honestly, part of the reason why that is a lot of the times I know that it is a standard practice on YouTube, but a lot of the times what I find is that, especially with like review content, even if they don't mention spoilers or like giving a spoiler warning, oftentimes I find that they will show off bits of content that will have other things in it that, like, basically if I was watching the video before playing the game, I would be like, what the heck is that? And then when I would finally find it, my experience would be ruined in a way. And so, like, in this video, as you just saw, I cut to footage in Subnautica of the attempted rescue of a ship called the Sunbeam. And yeah, that's part of why I don't really do that much cutting away anymore. Because really, I prefer like reviews that basically show off like the bare basics of the game, rather than like, okay, here's like 20 hours in. Like, yeah, there are some times where like I'll show off, like in a lot of my previous videos, you would see footage in like more cozy games about like, here's what it's like after X amount of hours, or this is from a previous save file of the game. And like part of the reason why I don't do that much anymore is because I just don't find it, like, I feel it's unfair to people, you know? It's like, if my videos inspire you to go out and try the game because, hey, this legally blind guy was trying out this game and he thought it was alright, I don't want you to get the experience spoiled for you unless you want to do that on your own. No. Like, you can still beat a creative world. It's just that a lot of events in Subnautica are timing based. As a result, normally in like survival or freedom or even hardcore mode, you'd be out gathering resources, gathering food, gathering supplies to make water, and then you'd get random radio signals to advance this. In creative mode, a lot of that stuff just needs to be waited out in order for you to unlock it. Now, I'm a long-time player of Subnautica. I've been playing the game on and off for years. I bought the game when it was in game preview on Xbox long ago. So, as a result, I am very familiar with Subnautica's mechanics, and normally for average play, I would play on survival mode. However, for the simplicity of not having to worry about hunger, thirst, and all these other stats, I mostly play it on creative mode for all the footage you're seeing. With that out of the way, what accessibility features does Subnautica have, or what accessibility features does it need that I think would be beneficial? Let's dive in, shall we? There isn't a whole lot of accessibility features in Subnautica. However, at least from my gameplay experience, what it does offer is very nice, very beneficial, but there are things that I do think that it could do better. The current accessibility features offered within Subnautica are that you are able to disable light flashes, adjust the UI scale, adjust the text speed on subtitles, Okay, and here's another example of something that I don't do much anymore. I'll give you like a brief overview of the settings menus, but beyond like that, I don't really show off what the different options do anymore. Again, I know it's typically a standard practice, but also there's a lot of it that like to a certain degree, like especially if you've been around games a lot, you know what certain settings will do. And so like at a certain point it's like, why do I keep showing off the same like colorblind settings, you know? Like all it's doing is the same basic thing just with that game's art style. And it's like, yeah, it's important to see, but at the same time it kind of also just kind of bogs down the video in my opinion. Like I'll still talk about them, but I won't like show gameplay of them because it kind of like slows everything down. I want to kind of like give, here's what your like your first, depending on how long the video is, here's like your first 8, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes of gameplay will go. What do I feel it needs? Well, for one, I think that even though I would not necessarily find it beneficial, I think that a color grading option for color blindness would be really helpful, especially for some of the earlier game areas such as the kelp forest. If someone has like yellow-green color blindness, the kelp forest may be extremely hard to navigate. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please be sure to like and subscribe as always. Now, if excuse me, I'm going to enjoy the view of this alien ocean while I doze off to sleep. But in the meantime, see you guys next week for a real treat. At the start of April, I had announced that the It Takes Two video would not be coming out as it had originally been planned due to situations going on with my life. Well, I've been working really hard on the It Takes Two video for the past several weeks, and I believe that it should be in a really good place is for me to be able to release it next week. Also, so this is basically the end of the video. I've got one more point to add about what you just heard, but basically, even now, I still try to do this, but thankfully within the past year, I've been able to, relatively speaking, keep up on my uploads. I've been able to achieve everything I've attempted so far. Like with the Advent Calendar series that ended in December. With that one, I was so close to giving up on that. But for the most part, I've been able to get out a video every single week for the past year, almost. And I am extremely proud of that. And in fact, actually, although because of other life events, I cannot do like a traditional anniversary video, especially considering that this video will be going up just 2 days before the anniversary of me starting uploading. But I will be basically celebrating it in some way within my next video next week. But basically what the point of all this was, even now, if I were to had to adjust when a video would come out, or if a video didn't come out because of life events, I would address it. I wouldn't just push it aside and keep moving forward. I want to be clear about what's going on. Here's why this video didn't come out. Here's why this video felt rushed. Because too many times do creators just they'll upload a video and it'll feel off. It'll feel not like their typical style. Or maybe they don't upload that week. They don't give any explanation. Yeah, it's their own privacy for why they didn't. But also, it could just be as simple as addressing something like, hey, there's some events in my life that are going on right now that I can't upload a video this week. Sorry, guys. Even something as simple as that to me is good enough. You know? I have an even better special announcement for at the end of that video. So please stay tuned for that. I hope you're excited, because I sure am. See you guys then. But that's all I've got to say about the Subnautica video. Tune in next week for a video on Mario vs. Donkey Kong. because that's the game that you've been watching gameplay footage from throughout this entire video. See you guys next week.